What up? What up? What up? What up? What is up, people? You're now tuned into another installment of Brooklyn Beers and Ball Sports Show. I am your co-host, resident Philadelphia guy, Scrap. I'm here with my big bro Don. We about to get into the recap of these, past couple games. Rod couldn't be here. He's getting fitted for his L tonight. Make sure they tailor make sure they tailor it just right for him. But listen, before we get into this, we want you to follow, we want you to like, we want you to share, and we want you to subscribe. If you're tuned in live, please comment. Let Don know how wrong he is. Let me know how right I am. We're gonna get into it. We got a good show lined up for you. D, how you feeling, big guy?
Feeling good. Feeling good. We are
Back to your winning ways.
we're back to our winning ways. We won
Right.
convincingly. We're not mathematically out of it, so there is a chance.
Fat
Right?
lady's warming up, but she hasn't sang yet.
She hasn't sang yet. So we do have an opportunity, of course. It's tough. It's gonna be almost nearly impossible. But there is a chance. So, we'll
Absolutely.
discuss that. And
It's not over till it's over, right?
It's not over till it's over, right? Anything could happen. But we'll discuss that. Without further ado, man, let's get into it. Okay, week 14 is almost in the books. We have one more game tonight, and we'll discuss that. We'll do a quick preview of Cowboys Bengals towards the end of the show. But we're going to start off the show with a, arguably one of the better teams, could be considered the best team in the NFC. They have
NFL.
a candidate, and we'll see. They have a candidate to be a MVP in Saquon Barkley, and I've said all season that he has been completely, utterly the saving grace of the Eagles. Where would they be without Saquon Barkley? Now, Scrap is going to disagree with that, but I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I think he has 9 games of rushing for over 100 yards. He is the single season rushing leader for the Eagles, right? So I think did he take Shady?
Left? Yeah, he took over Shady.
He took Shady, right? Okay.
How many games left? 5 games left? Something like that?
Yeah. So it utterly impressive. You can't refute the numbers, right? So with that being said, at that same time, Jalen Hurts is throwing for an average of 140 yards, maybe.
That's all we need.
Yeah, because you got Saquon Barkley. So
yeah, that's all.
Let's not diminish what he has been to the Eagles, right? Mm-hmm. It's not Sirianni coaching better, and he's now in tune with the team and the play. It's Saquon Barkley, and your team. And then I'll pass it to you. Will only go as far as Saquon takes you. What do you say?
I say that you're kind of right and you're kind of wrong because, before we collapsed last year, we had pretty much the same record around this time last year before we collapsed. So, I mean, yeah, he is a big factor why why we look like a juggernaut right now. But Sirianni is doing a better coaching job, before I think it was on the bye week. Some of the offensive linemen went to him and said, "Listen, let's run the ball." And he put his ego to the side and he's listening to his team. It all works together. Everything got to go hand in hand, coincide with each other, for success. And we're having success. And yeah, you're probably right. Maybe Saquon is, without him, where would we be? But we'll see, man. As long as he stays healthy, I like our chances, man, to be partying in New Orleans, man.
I don't know about all that now.
You never know about all that. But I like our chances, man. I like our chances against anybody. Now, yesterday, I think that was just one of those games where every game is not going to be, every play is not going to be a slam dunk. Every play is not going to be a home run. I mean, we left opportunities out there for the Panthers, to actually steal that game. But cream always rises to the top, man.
It does.
It always
it
rises
indeed
to the top.
does. It indeed does. Now, what do you say about now the teams that you would potentially have to play? Let's just say NFC Championship game, a Detroit. I understand that your running game has been amazing, but running games are great because they travel, right? And defense. Usually running games and defense travel. But let's say you're playing a Detroit who has the run game, they have the offensive weapons. Do you think Jalen Hurts, throwing for 120 yards a game and throwing only 20 times, is that sustainable to get you where you need to be and back to the Super Bowl? I personally don't think so. And what do you have as a second question? What do you feel about what you're seeing on the sideline with A.J. Brown? Like, we know A.J. Brown is the type of receiver that, yes, he's okay with you guys winning, but he wants to be a part of it. And
Right.
honestly, who wouldn't want a receiver, an alpha
Exactly.
receiver, to be okay with just winning, just being one of the guys? Will the success of Saquon Barkley be the undoing of the Eagles if said receiver A.J. Brown is not happy? What do you say?
Well, with the first part, as far as Jalen throwing the ball for only a certain amount of yards, that's fine. Whatever we got to do to win. Winning is the ultimate goal. So I mean, he can have games where he throws for over 200 plus yards. And, I mean, they right now they're few far in between because we don't need it. But we have the receivers, we have the offensive line, we have the offense to get whatever we need to win. So I mean, long as well, our really strength is our defense right now. So if we can only score 15 points, they better only score 14 as far as that. Because, like you said, defense travels. Like, our defense has been playing lights out for the most part. Yesterday, the Panthers did some things, that they were successful. I think it was really Chuba Hubbard yesterday who paced them because, he had something to prove after he fumbled the game away last week. So, he was just like a man on a mission. And my hat's off to him. They did well, like Mike Tyson say, I take my hand off to them. I take my hand off to the Panthers, man. They came in with a game plan and they executed. But as far as like any other team, I mean, y'all see how we play against the better teams. We play up. The
Mhm.
Ravens, we held them in check. Any other so-called top tier team that we played, we pretty much held them in check. So I'm not worried about that. And as far as AJ Brown, we all know wide receivers are divas. He's not the first one to act like that. Yeah, he wants to be involved. He wants to be able to do the dances in the end zone. But I think ultimately at the end, when that confetti's falling on him, he's going to see that, what he say? This is bigger than Nino Brown. This is way bigger than Nino Brown. So I mean, yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
got to keep him happy. Though. I mean, it was sometimes where Jalen just missed him. He,
Mhm.
he was open maybe for that split second, and he couldn't get the ball to him. But like I said, we came away with the W. Yeah, he's gonna express, you know, not well displeasure. He's not going to be
Mhm.
pleased about everything when he's not involved. He's not, but he already got his contract, so I don't see the problem with it. But like I'm not him. I'm not a star wide receiver. Like you said, he wants to be involved. He wants the glory as well as the glitz. He wants to
Yeah.
be he wants to be one of the main ingredients in that Super Bowl pie that we're baking. So
Right. And as you can see over the course of this year, um, prior to Saquon Barkley coming there, AJ Brown was, highly involved in the offense, and their success was tied directly to him. This year, not so much, right? He's like a piece to the puzzle, but clearly everyone is. I'm not saying that they don't game plan for AJ Brown, right? Because clearly you would. If you're smart, you would game plan for AJ
for
Brown
everybody,
and Devontae Smith and of course Saquon Barkley, and yeah, you would game plan for them.
ain't
But
got
now the
it.
focus is totally, like, the majority of the focus is not only following Saquon because he has an opportunity to break the all-time rushing record, but just the success that his style of play has contributed to the Eagles' success. I do think that's something that is going to have to be looked at. Sometimes things are nothing, but sometimes there's something, and I do think it is something ultimately. Because everyone, in this age of sports, it is important. People's who they are, what they're contributing, it all impacts with social media. That's why there's so many cameras always flashing the sideline, the coaches, they want people's reactions. And if the shine is not on you as, particularly to contribute directly to the success of the team, I think that might be, an issue down the line. But time will tell. You guys are still winning. It doesn't have to be pretty. I mean, look at the Chiefs. We're going to discuss how the Chiefs somehow, some way, in one-score games, they're, I think 15-0 and one-score games. So it's it doesn't have to be, pretty. This isn't college. We don't have to run up the score. There's no style points. It's about just getting the W, and you guys have been successful with that. Your next game, do you have any more tough games coming up, or is that?
we got Pittsburgh next.
Okay.
There's no walking the park. I mean, they're going to be for us, but for anybody else, there's no walking.
Okay, I like that. I like Pittsburgh. I do like Pittsburgh. I do like that's good. And we're going to discuss that, going into week 15 preview. But I think that's going to be a good challenge because they do have a
formidable defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
A great coach that for some reason gets banged on for not winning the Super Bowl. I'm like, this dude, he put you on the playoffs every year. Like, I mean, it's hard to win a Super Bowl, but y'all give yourself the chance to compete every year.
And it's a really, really difficult division, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's not like it's not like when, let's say, for example, when Tom Brady was in the AFC East, it was almost a guarantee that he was going to pretty much demolish his conference or his division. And then that was like, he was already padded. So it was more the focus of playing the teams that he would have to play outside of, obviously, the Jets, the Bills, when the Bills were trash. And, so I think it's, AFC North is a difficult, task. They have really good teams in there. So for him to be as successful as he has been is quite an accomplishment. But I think that's going to be a really good test. I mean, these next couple of weeks, I think it's exciting for NFL because teams still have something to play for, right? There are a few teams that have locked up pretty much everything or have clinched a playoff spot already. And you guys are, a lock to be in the playoffs for sure. But
I told Rod we was gonna have everything situated by Christmas, man. We gonna put the division under our tree for Christmas, man. He didn't want to believe it, man. He didn't want to believe it.
Okay.
Man, well, I told him that back in October, man. I said, listen, man.
When you're successful, you can say these things. Hey, no one can argue with you. Now, what is important is what you're gonna do if you make it there in February. What's happening in February, right? What's going to happen. All right. Well, next week is going to be a challenging week, but we will definitely talk about that prior to it happening.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the 49ers. 49ers were playing Chicago. And so, as everyone is aware of, we've had a ridiculous, unbelievable amount of injuries, and no excuse. Injuries are part of the game, right? So we just had, CMC we didn't have for most of the year. He came back, and in my opinion, I think we, Kyle Shanahan asked too much of him too soon. And as a result, although his injury had nothing to do initially with why he was out for so long, I think just the wear and tear and the need to try to rush him back into his normal workload, I think might have contributed directly or indirectly. In any case, he's out for the season, right? Because he's on IR for 6 weeks, it's over, right? And then you have Jordan Mason, who was playing really well prior to him, in CMC's absence. He wasn't, as CMC came back, they should have kind of, had that transition, right? Let CMC get back up to speed or use him in a different way. And, that didn't happen. That's neither here nor there. Jordan Mason, high ankle sprain. He's out for 4 weeks. So now we have Isaac Garindo. Garindo looked good, 4.3 speed, really explosive running back. He ends up with a foot, I think it's a foot sprain. He has a foot sprain. He had to exit the game early. And so we looked, I mean, Brock Purdy had his A game. I mean, he looked highly impressive. And we know that Chicago is dealing with, the coaching aspect, trying to find themselves. And earlier in the season, with those teams that we should have, when they're in flux, we had to handle business. Had we handled business, or when we were beating teams, not losing in the fourth quarter, I think we would be, positioned differently. Now, injuries aside, we could be positioned differently record-wise and still be in the position we are as far as injuries. Moving forward, I think we are not in charge of our own destiny. We do need some help from other teams. We were expecting the Bills to handle business since Josh Allen was supposed to be a world beater. And what did he do? Okay, he allowed the Rams to, kind of beat up on him. Now, Seattle and Arizona, I still don't believe in them whatsoever. I think someone is going to falter down the stretch and, give us an outside shot. I mean, we have to handle each game. Now, we have a difficult game coming up on Thursday. We have the Rams, who just beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. But I do think, now I don't know who our running back is going to be, right? We don't know, right? It's our whole season has been next man up. I think Brock Purdy, I think Kittle has been balling out. I don't know what's going on with Debo. Debo maybe is saving himself for next year on another team because he is not doing anything. I don't know what happened. Debo maybe he's injured. I don't know that, but he's not on the injury report week in and week out. I don't know if just all the wear and tear of all those years of just being a dual threat.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's catching up and maybe we're just witnessing it all at once. But it doesn't seem like he has the burst. They give him like little screens, and normally he's going 50 yards, to the house. And now he's just like, they're catching him with ankle tackles, and he's not really. And I think maybe if we only saw Debo with CMC, it could be said, oh, well, CMC took the pressure off of Debo, right? But we've seen Debo prior to CMC coming, how he was used. And like you said, he was a Swiss Army knife. We could use him, lining up as a receiver, out the backfield. I mean, it was just a plethora of ways we could use him, and it just seems like he doesn't have that. Now, Ricky Pearsall, you have to step up. I don't know what you're doing. You got to step up. Kittle has been balling. Brock Purdy, making sure that they protect him. He's getting the ball out. He's making decisions. He's extending plays. He's not turning the ball over. So I think we can at least make it interesting down the stretch. Will we win the division? I do think it's possible. It's not out of, the realm of possibility. But a 38-13 win bodes well for what we need to do moving forward. What do you say?
Well, I say, along with all y'all misfortune of the injuries, y'all do have fortune in y'all just finding gems. Y'all managed to always find a gem like your running back. I actually had him, Kittle, and Purdy on my fantasy team yesterday, and I'm putting foot to Bob right now, so he's happy about that. But
okay, has your playoffs started, or this is just the last week before the playoffs?
Playoffs didn't start yet. I think playoffs may be not, this week, maybe next week, maybe. I gotta check.
Is it ESPN League or is it a Yahoo? Okay, Yahoo. I think it starts week 15. So yeah, but that's good.
Okay, well, hopefully I make the playoffs because I'm on the cusp. Because I had some rough times in the beginning, man. I had some rough times, but no, I think y'all gonna be okay. But like I said, who knows how long y'all luck is going to keep running with finding these gems. Like, it's like, not that they're to the, the caliber of, McCaffrey, but your running game has pretty much not missed a beat all season, even with him out. Because like you said, Mason was playing, borderline Pro Bowl, running back status, and then that guy Garendo came in yesterday and he played great. I mean, like y'all find these players and y'all plug them in, and I guess maybe it's the culture, maybe it's the scheme, maybe it's the other people around them, how they just come right in, and it's pretty much seamless. But yeah, I think that y'all might be able to sneak in. Y'all might actually win the division now. And my fans do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did pick the Rams to win the division, back in September, only because y'all had so much success last year. I'm like, maybe it's time for somebody else to get a turn. I mean, that's just me. It's no hate, and I'm not happy anybody's hurt on your team. I'm never happy anybody gets injured. Even when Dak got hurt, I'm like, I don't like injuries. I like your team to lose fair and square.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, y'all look real good yesterday. I don't want to hear it was the Bears. The Bears been playing good. They haven't been winning a lot, but they've been in games just like the Panthers. They've been in games. They haven't been an easy out by any stretch of the imagination. They compete. Their quarterback, he's playing good. I mean, these players and teams are in the NFL for a reason. There's no bad teams in the NFL. There are bad run teams, but every team has talent. Every team has, NFL caliber players. If not, they wouldn't have a little seal on their jersey.
Right.
So I mean, you can't hand me that you got a cupcake schedule. No, some schedules are easier than others, but there are no cupcakes in there. They're all NFL players. They're all fighting for the same goal. Bad news, Bears. Yeah, the Bears got bad news yesterday, but like I said, man, the Niners look good yesterday. I can't hate on them for that. They look good. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Right. Beat the team that's on your schedule. And, unfortunately, we didn't do enough of that or finish the deal. I mean, we were beating a lot of teams, but finishing the deal is a whole nother story, And speaking of teams that somehow, some way, always know how to finish a game.
They land on their feet.
Oh, my goodness. Kansas City. And I'll say this. Kansas City is one of those teams that we're starting to get to the point where, and it hasn't even been the same kind of run as the, Patriots, right? 20 years of just, dominance, if you will. But I'm getting a little tired of Kansas City. I'm going to be honest. Now, people don't want to say that they benefit from, some, calls that go their way, or some phantom, roughing the passer, or, illegal contact.
Timely.
There are timely calls that always seem to happen. But Kansas City is one of those teams. They're the champions, right? And you got to beat the champ, right? Ultimately, you have to put them out. When you have an opportunity, you really need to put them out. And when you give them an opportunity, if you leave it close, first of all, I think the Chargers, without Ladd McConkey, who I happen to have on my fantasy team, and he obviously plays through a lot of injuries dating back to college. He's been their bright spot. He seems like he's the only receiver on that team that gets any type of separation. He was out.
Holds on to the ball.
And holds on to the ball. Because like Quentin Johnston is like, he can get open. He has hands.
Butterfingers
they drop.
Palmer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. They drop a lot of passes. I think it was tough. And it came down to a final field goal. So shout out to the Chargers, but listen to this. The Chargers, first time they played Kansas City, they got out to a 10-point lead. And lo and behold, the Kansas City Chiefs slow walked them down and wind up winning that game. Now, this game, Kansas City got out to a lead, and Chargers pretty much shut them down the complete second half. They only scored 6 points in the second half, but it's when the 6 points counts, right? It doesn't matter that you held them to 6 points. The final 3 points they scored was in victory. So what does it matter, right?
No moral victories around here.
There's no moral victories. And Mahomes has been getting hit more, but it just seems like nobody lays the hit on him. I don't know what it is. He's not fast, right? It's not like he has lightning speed. And I know he's the face of the league. I think that there is a certain, and if Rod was here, he would think this is just an excuse. I think there's a certain degree of reverence for him because he's the face of the league. And nobody wants to really, put it to the face of the league because they know that there's a ripple effect and there's implications. Now look at what happened to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence got hit.
Goodness.
He's nowhere near the face of the league. He got hit. Yes, it was a dirty. People say it was a dirty play. It was a dirty play, right? Because he led with the forearm and knocked him out, right? And he fenced, right? His arms locked up as if he was concussed. That happened, and they suspended him for 3 games. Imagine if something like that happened to Patrick Mahomes. In a lot of ways, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, they're providing a fan base. They're providing people who are casual sports fans to tune in. Even if it's just the proximity of Taylor Swift to coming to the games, it brings other sets of eyes, advertising dollars. They have a captivated audience. I just don't think that they want their golden goose to get hurt, right? And I don't want him to get hurt, but I just want somebody to hit him hard. I guess a pause would be appropriate at that point.
Okay.
But I do think they just, for some reason, they just don't, go full force. It seems like everyone lays up. Nobody really is, occasionally he'll get slung down, but the first thing he does when he hops up, he's looking for a flag because he's become so accustomed to looking for, hey, wait a minute. They touched me. It's football. What are you talking?
Like, where's my flag?
Yeah, it is a LeBron effect to a degree.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Well, I mean, what you say there is not there. There's a lot of truth to what you say. Once the league, crowns their golden boy, or they have him on that list of a protected species, like, you can't hit him that hard. If you hit him that hard, if it's a second, if it's anywhere debatable where it can be roughing the passer, they're going to call it. Okay. If you hit him too hard and endanger him, I say that because I remember one time, the Eagles was playing the Colts, right? And Trent Cole got blocked into Peyton Manning, and his hand, the back of his hand, hit his helmet. Flags everywhere. Contact in the head, 15 yards, roughing the passer. Now, mind you, his back was to him. The dude pushed him, and his hand just hit his helmet like that. And they threw a flag. If I can find the video, I'll put it in the chat. But like, when they protect them, they overprotect them. So maybe the players know that, I can't really lay the wood, pause, so to speak, on this guy because, it's going to cost us 15 yards and possibly the game. It's going to cost me money, might cost me some games, So, yeah, he's protected. He's protected. And like you said, every time somebody touches him, he's looking for flags and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's just, I mean, he's protected. And that's just what it is. He's protected.
Yeah, I think Kansas City. I'm not saying I'm not saying because they win such close games that it's going to come back to haunt them. But I do think it's just a matter of, what's up, Ken? I do think it's a matter of they just find a way to win. Between, now Travis Kelce, I don't know. They use Noah Gray a lot more, and maybe that's by design. They're trying to keep Kelce for the final stretch and keep him in the playoffs where maybe his presence is needed more. I just think it's so frustrating watching them play, and somehow, some way figure out and squeak out victories. That, I mean, if you think about it, all season long. The toe on the line with the Ravens, the block punt, with the Ravens, they fumble. It's just
It
I
always
don't
works
know.
out for them.
It always works out for them. It always works out for them. And if they three-peat, yeah.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I hope they don't. I hope.
No, I'm telling you, they're not.
Well, I know you're going to say that because you think the Eagles are going to beat them. But I'm saying,
they're
realistically speaking, I would love for them not to even make, lose in the playoffs. I would love for them to lose in the, AFC Championship game or something. Because if they get to the Super Bowl,
they're going to catch bird flu.
Oh, really? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they make it all the way there, they're going to catch bird flu.
Do you guys think? I mean, let me ask you. I mean, I really don't have to ask you because I know what your answer is.
Well, ask me anyway. Humor.
Do you think you guys can go to Detroit in a playoff environment in an NFC Championship game and win?
Yes, absolutely. We can go.
Okay,
anywhere.
But realize Jalen Hurts can't throw for 120 yards in that game, and you guys win.
Yes, he can. If whatever we need to do to win, we're going to win. I mean, that's just going to happen. It's just going to happen.
I don't expect any other answer from you. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm glad I didn't let you down.
You did not disappoint. I didn't expect any other answer from you. I would, if I was in your shoes, I would say the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
I just think there's a lot of momentum. I think there are certain teams, and of course, there's always a shock. There's always an upset, right? The desert wants an upset. They want a team that you didn't see them coming, and they wind up, the overwhelming favorite is knocked off, right? That's how Vegas, that's how they build, new hotels and are always modifying the strip.
If they put us as the underdog, then the upset will be delivered. Book it. They put us as the underdog, the upset will be delivered to Vegas.
Well, right now, I would imagine if you guys had to go to Detroit, you would be the underdog, and rightfully so. I mean, Detroit, all aspects, is a really, really good team. The only problem I see with the Eagles, offensive line is great. Defense is from last year to this year, improved night and day. Yeah. You got a fantastic, top tier run game. The problem is the quarterback. I'm not sure in a given situation that he's going to be able with his arm, and you're going to need. I understand that you think that Saquon is going to run for 300 yards, and that tells you what you're saying and what you are projecting are two different things. You're saying, yes and no, that where would you guys be without Saquon? But you're like, yeah, we got Saquon. Like, no, Hurts is going to have to put up some points. He's going to have to throw you guys.
He will.
And all right, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if the season is any indication on what will happen, he hasn't been putting up. I don't know how many. I don't know. He may not have any 300-yard games. I mean, he probably has one or two, but you're going to have to be in that at minimum 275, 280. 2-3 touchdowns, and then you have, in addition to your run game, right? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. We'll see what happens.
He had a 311-yard game against New Orleans week 3.
Okay, and we're going into soon to be week 15. That's
what I'm saying. I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has 6 other over 200-yard passing games.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
I mean, he got a 278 in there, a 264.
He's going to need some of those. He's going to need the two.
I mean, that's just letting you know that it's there. It's like Prego. It's in there. It's in the sauce, man. Call him Prego. It's in there.
It's in there. I got it. It's in there.
What are we doing?
It's in there. It's in there. Listen. I'm all for it. I'm here to see it. This year, obviously, as a Niner fan, it's disappointing. But I understand injuries happen.
Absolutely.
And as long as we finish the season strong, play our best. I hope, players don't start packing
y'all
it
can
in.
build on it for next season, and then maybe next year it'll be your turn again. Like we alternate, Like it was our turn the year before last, we didn't do it. Y'all turn last year, y'all didn't do it. Now it's our turn again.
It would have been our season. It would have been our turn twice in a row if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt. Be clear on that. Let's be at 100 on that. If Brock Purdy didn't get hurt, we would have handled business. Listen, the very next season when we played you guys, we proved what would have happened. And we went, as they always say, you return to the scene of the crime. We returned to the scene of the crime and handled business. It wasn't like, oh, you played in San Francisco. We went back to Philly, had some cheesesteaks and handled business and went on about our. So, it happens.
We wasn't the same team. We was not the same team.
Well, you didn't have Saquon.
We didn't have Saquon, and we didn't have like half of the defense. We didn't have none of the linebackers we had. We lost like our whole what's that?
Oh, you lost your defensive and offensive coordinators, right? That was that the year?
Them. Yeah, we lost them. So. They, your assistants get poached after you go on a run, Super Bowl run at that. Your assistants get poached, but that's no excuse. Y'all came in there and did what y'all had to do. But like I said, now we went and beefed up the defense. The defense is back to where it was. Like just be thankful that y'all not on the menu. I mean, schedule this year.
Right, not on the menu this year.
I meant to say schedule.
We appreciate it. We're glad. We're glad. We're glad. You guys would have just, it's all good. It happens. Last but not least, let's talk about the last game of week 14. We got a game tonight, and it should be. I mean, these two teams. This is a pride game, right? This ain't. They're not really, realistically speaking, they're not playing for anything, right? Yes, right. The Cowboys are not mathematically out of it, right? They have not been eliminated. I think only two teams have technically been eliminated from the playoffs, right? The Jets being one, and I forget what the other. I forget what the other two, right? They're done. Giants eliminated, Jets eliminated. And maybe there's a third
Jaguars.
team. I think so.
I mean, we can go through this.
No. I'm talking about the eliminated, officially eliminated. I think there's only 2 or 3 teams that have been. There's a lot of teams that are really
both of those Jersey teams. Both of those Jersey teams.
Right, they're both out of it.
Those East Rutherford.
The Raiders. Thank you. Yeah, the Raiders have been eliminated.
Okay, the Raiders.
Okay. Yeah. So from a technical standpoint, they have nothing to play for, but. Micah Parsons is talking about pride, and everybody is, standing up for McCarthy and encouraging Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is going to listen. Jerry Jones is going to do what Jerry Jones wants to do anyway, and he's probably comfortable with McCarthy. So why would he, look to, make a change at the coach, right? So he probably wants to do that anyway. But everyone. From Dak Prescott to Micah Parsons to CeeDee Lamb, the players that you would want in your corner are saying, all the great stuff. Now, if they really believe that, fantastic. If they don't and they're just saying it just to not hurt his feelings, fine, right? I think from a standpoint, Cincinnati, this team is going to change, right? They will not. This is the best version of the Bengals that we'll see from an offensive standpoint. You're going to lose T. Higgins. And there's talk that T. Higgins may go to, the Chargers. There'll be a ton of teams that are interested in T. Higgins. All right. You have a really good young running back. Of course, you have
Chase Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, Chase Brown is really good. He's on my fantasy team. I actually like Chase Brown. You do have, of course, Jamar Chase, who is going to get a ridiculous, astronomical amount of money in the offseason. He has bet on himself, and it has been to great success. And he's delivered, right? A lot of times, unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way, but when it does, we applaud it. And, of course, you got Joe Burrow, who already got his paper. He's already set. So you have important positions. Now, of course, the defense has to – you can do a lot against that defense. So they're going to have to bolster that defense in one way, shape, or form. to make them, because they're in a very, very tough division. And for the most part, those other players, those other teams in that division aren't going anywhere. So they're going to have to level up defensively. But this game is going to be about pride, right? Nobody wants to get embarrassed on a standalone game, right? This is Monday Night Football. It's a standalone game. Everyone's going to be watching. So I do think that the Cowboys over the last couple of weeks have tried to show, better late than never, right? A balance. They've been trying to run the ball with Rico Dowell. And I think, of course, CeeDee Lamb has not measured up. Shout out to Rod. CeeDee Lamb may or may not be a number one receiver. We have, it remains to be seen. If you got 39 yards, you got 4 receptions and 39 yards as the number one receiver, maybe you are not a number one receiver for the game. For the game. Right. It should be for the drive, right? I mean, I've seen Jawan Jennings has had that much in a drive, let alone the game. But hey, Rod's not here to defend his team.
I digress.
He doesn't have the stars on his shoulders to defend his team. But I will say this. I do think it's going to be an interesting game. Strength against strength. I think you can. What are they going to do? Micah Parsons, are they going to be able to put pressure on Joe Burrow, right? Because if you leave him alone, it's going to be a long night.
Going to pick you apart.
You can run on Dallas, right? So they have a game that allows with Chase Brown. He's a good receiver out of the backfield, and you can just give him the ball. He's a 3-down back. He has proven to be successful. You're going to have to pick your poison. If you start doubling the receivers, Chase Brown is going to have 140 yards rushing and maybe 2 touchdowns. If you crowd the box, you got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. It's going to be a tough go. The best I would suggest for the Cowboys is to try to remain as balanced as possible. And what that means is that you're going to need to run and pass. You're going to need to do both. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Thanks for joining. You're going to have to do both. You're going to have to run and pass. And if you don't do that, you're going to be in a world of hurt. What do you say?
Well, I mean, I just need the Bengals to win and the score to be around 43 to win a pool. So this game's going to
the total points. You need the total points to be 42. Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could change. I was thinking about changing it, but I'm like, no, you never bowled well when you go back and change some stuff. So I'm just leave it at that. I got the Bengals winning, and upwards about 43 points total. But this game, I mean, I can't really get excited about this game at all because neither one of them are going anywhere. It's filler for me. But like you said, the Cowboys, they have been showing signs of life. That Rico dude, he's been putting up some good numbers lately. Last couple of games, I think didn't he rush for over 100 yards?
Yeah, I think he finally hit the 100-yard mark. Finally.
Well, that was against the Giants, right? That was Thanksgiving.
I think so. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't put too much stock in there. And the Bengals, they seem to have disappointed this year. Were they dealing with injuries or something this year? Was Chase out or something?
No, Chase. Jamar. Well, Jamar Chase initially was trying to get a deal done before the season started, and then it got to the point where it was like a week before the season, and he was like, "Enough! I'm just going to, I'm going to play through it." Now, Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow started off hurt. Wasn't he hurt?
I think it was some type of injury thing with them early.
Yeah. And Jamar and T. Higgins has been dealing on and off with injuries. Okay. I think his hamstring was messed up. He was out for a couple of weeks. I think he's been out at least off and on in the season, about 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I knew it was something. I mean, and they don't have the plethora of weapons that some of the other teams like the Eagles.
Zach Moss. Neck injury. So remember, they transitioned away from Mixon, right?
Right.
And so they had Zach Moss,
and then that's how Brown got in.
And that's how Brown got in. He had that neck injury. Zach Moss ended his season and potentially his career. And the rest is history as far as.
Well, I mean,
Chase Brown.
They just like pretty much any other team, you know, they're dealing with injuries, and they're not as deep as other teams where they could just, you know, plug and play. You know, they feel their injuries, you know, because after Jamar Chase, you know, what's that guy, Iosova or whatever his name is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had flashes, you know, but it
Right.
was nothing sustainable to have him like, okay, now you got a game plan for this guy. It's like Jamar Chase, no T. Higgins. Okay, we're gonna blanket Chase, and then pick our poison with the running back. You know, it's like
Right.
they don't have that many weapons where you gotta like game plan for multiple people. So, I mean, I guess injuries, you know, shanghaied their season. But I mean, it's a couple teams that can say that, yours included. A
Yeah.
couple teams that can say that injuries derailed their season. But I still think they got enough to beat the Cowboys because for the most part, they got a full complement tonight. Higgins is back, Chase is there, both Chases are there, and you got a healthy Burrow. So I mean, I look for them to just, you know, grind them in the powder, like you like to say. I don't see any scenario where the Cowboys win this game, and they're in Dallas, right?
I believe so. Let me
Yeah.
let me double check.
Yeah,
I think they're in Dallas. So you know weather won't be an issue. It's a controlled environment,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They're playing on the carpet.
Right. Where are they? Yeah, they're playing in Dallas. So let me get a score from you. Let me just start with this. Cincinnati is a 4.5-point favorite. Over under is 50.5. What do you say?
Okay. Well, being that I got it at 43, I'm gonna say 33-10 Bengals.
33. Oh, so only 10 points?
Yeah,
They got CeeDee Lamb. Listen,
know.
they got a number one receiver, right?
Yeah, but if he's
Rod would say top 3 in the league. Now
top
I
3
could
on
think
the Cowboys.
right, top 3 on the Cowboys. I could think of 8 receivers, maybe 10 that's better than CeeDee Lamb. But hey, listen, top 3 in the league, and you're saying that they can only put up 10 points?
They can only muster up 10 points.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever.
That's shameful. That's shameful.
Yeah, well, hey, man, listen. I call it like I see it, man.
So you said your score is 33-10?
Yeah, 33-10. We gonna hit that 43 right on the button.
I'm gonna give the Cowboys a little more respect than that, man. Come on, I can't. I mean, look. All jokes aside, right? I don't want to. And Rod's not here, and I wouldn't say this if he was here. I wouldn't. You know, I don't want to talk behind his back. But if you have a number one receiver and you have a top 3 receiver in the league, there is no way that your team as a whole should only put up 10 points. And so I think that's slanderous. I'm going to be honest with you. That's a little bit slanderous, a little bit disrespectful.
Okay. You're right.
I think the Cowboys are going to now they're going to lose. Ultimately, they're going to lose. But I think they're going to put up something. I would say let me be a little more respectful as to because
I don't want to talk behind his back.
Listen, I do think if Micah and company could put pressure on Joe Burrow because their offensive line is okay, and you still you can pass on them. You can pass the ball on them. Now, you know you got Cooks is back. You got, of course, your number one receiver. What's the other guy? You have the other guy. You got Turpin. You got Tolbert. You got enough. Yes, Cooper Rush is the quarterback. Okay, he's, you know, Rod said he was, you know, one of the best backups in the league. So with that and a number one receiver, you should score more than 10 points. So I'm gonna go 35-24 Cincinnati. 35-24. I think
35-24?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, 10 points, Scrap. Come on now.
I'm telling you, man. Listen, man.
Not these Cowboys. Not Jerry Jones Cowboys, man. No, ain't no way.
Bad down there. They doing bad down there, man.
Man. Come on. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be a little more respectful. I think if they can balance, I think if they can get, you know, I think they're going to have to utilize CeeDee Lamb in different ways, right? And now that, you know, Rico is running the ball, you're going to have to pay some respect to the run game. You're not going to be able to just double CeeDee Lamb. So I think he's going to have to. I think CeeDee Lamb scores a touchdown. That's 7 points right there. And then you got Aubrey. He's going to kick at least 3 field goals, right? That's 9 points right there. Come on now, 10 points.
You got to make him.
You got to make him too. He got to make him. Yeah, he might have the yips.
And what we didn't say about that Chiefs game is that ball hit the upright. And
right. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. Like the Chiefs. Yeah. We think that Patrick Mahomes has a mullet, but that might be a rabbit's foot. That little hair that comes out, that might be a rabbit's foot. Some type of I don't know how they do it, but hey.
Like on Coming to America, his Princess Lock.
Right, just cut it. Just cut it and throw it to the side somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be $8.
Oh man. So we got some good games to watch. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, 10 points is disrespectful. Yeah, Rand ain't happy about that, man. 10 points is.
I think. Cowboy fan?
Oh, big time. He's a big time Cowboys
fan. I'm definitely not saying.
You say you'll never say his name, right?
I'm never saying his name. Hey, man, listen, man. I only call it like I said, man. For you, I'll give you 17. I'll give you 17. But my pick is y'all gonna score about 10 points tonight, man. It's Monday night.
I think they'll get up in the 20s. I think they'll get up in the 20s, honestly.
Right,
even if it's going to take Brandon 5 field goals to get there to assist them, they're going to get up into the 20s, I think. But time will tell. We will see. But anything else, Scrap, before we roll out? Oh, I just want to give a good. So you want to let them know that now it's not just I'm just Scrap. It's Coach Scrap, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead, give a shout out. Yeah.
Shout out to my guys, my St. Francis de Sales Lions, my 7th and 8th grade team that I coach. I got a good group of guys, man. Good group of guys. We had a rough weekend, took 2 L's. But we only been together for about 2 weeks. We only practiced about 3 times together. So the good thing about them is that they're willing to learn, they're enthusiastic. And after dealing with adversity, because we was missing we was missing 3 players this week, all big. So a lot of my guards had to play out of position. They had to play my 3 had to play the center and my 2 had to play the 4. So it was a very adverse weekend, but afterwards I didn't see no long faces. They ready to come back tomorrow and work. And a couple of them skipped practice the other day. So now they understand that, you got to come to practice, come ready to work. So they say they focus now. So we're going to see, man. I mean, but it's good so far. It's really good so far. I got a good group of guys, they play with heart, they play with determination. So that's all I can ask, man. That's all I can ask.
That's what's up, man. And other news, want to give out a shout out to one of our followers that watches the show, a good friend of ours, Canandre. He won the state championship in football in Arizona. Man. Shout outs to winning the state championship this past weekend. We want to applaud you for that. Man. Good job. Keep up the good work. They were in the championship last year, and just a tough loss, close down the stretch, and they had unfinished business. So shout out to
coach.
He's a coach, yeah. He's a football coach in Arizona.
Football coach. That's a whole nother, because you got to worry about offense, defense. You got to get your coordinators together. And I watched a lot of that Friday Night Tykes, man. Mm-hmm. The way those coaches argue and fight on the sidelines, man. I'm like, I can't. I'd rather stay with basketball. You and the team.
It was tough.
Assistant. Yeah,
it was tough. But that's good. We got some coaches working. You got you. Yo, listen, we looking forward to the championship announcements. But we just want to shout out Canandre Brown on bringing home the chip.
Congratulations
in Arizona. Keep up the good work. Scrap, good show, Rod. Listen, you ducked. And personally, I'm gonna say this. I don't want to talk behind his back. But Rod didn't want to be on the show only because he knew that you were only going to say they were going to score 10 points. So I think Rod didn't want to be on it. It's like, yo, we only gonna score 10 points. Let me duck the show.
L, man. He had to get fitted for his L.
Yeah, fresh. He's no Bengal skin jacket for him, right?
No, absolutely not.
He's no Bengal skin jacket, man.
The Bengals walking around with cowboy hats and spurs on, man, chaps and stuff.
Oh man, yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, but shout out to Rod, Scrap, fantastic. Thanks for jumping on, man. Shout out to everyone that jumped on, had comments. Once again, please like, share, subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube page. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Until next time, everybody. Let me find this outro. Peace.